Recently, a very interesting discussion has been circulating online. It offers a glimpse into how many Chinese internet users, even within a heavily moderated online environment, view the state of the world outside China. While China's internet space is controlled, these spontaneous comments still reveal striking perspectives and emotional tones. Of course, the ideas in the following article do not represent the views of this channel. What we have done is simply a cultural translation, a way to help you understand how some Chinese people see today's global realities. If you think this kind of content interesting, making you feel like watching North Koreans talk from behind a one-way mirror, please remember to like, save, and subscribe our channel. Now, let's begin. Many people in recent years have started to complain that countries like Australia, Canada, and New Zealand, once considered dream destinations for immigrants, seem to be getting worse. Especially after the pandemic, more and more voices online are expressing disappointment. The author of this essay argues that this sense of decline is not just about these countries themselves. It reflects something much larger, that the entire capitalist system has entered its final stage. This topic is almost taboo in mainstream economics, because once you admit that capitalism is approaching its end, what should the United States, Japan, or Europe do? Should they surrender, or simply wait for collapse? So, the enormous elephant in the room remains ignored. Let's look deeper. Was the so-called rapid growth of the past 20 years really real? Of course not, the author says. It was an illusion. Capitalism has an internal defect: overproduction. Workers are underpaid and can't buy back what they produce. So how do you keep the system running? By borrowing, creating debt. Debt exists because the system keeps pulling forward future wealth to sustain current consumption. That means spending the surplus value of the next 30 or 40 years today. This explains why the past felt so prosperous and why the present feels so stagnant. If the future has already been spent, how can tomorrow still be bright? Now consider U.S. Treasury bonds. What are they really? They are just another form of global debt. They exist to maintain the operation of world capitalism by injecting purchasing power. As the leader of the capitalist world, the United States provides this public good. Through its bonds, it helps other capitalist economies continue to consume even after they have drained their own futures. But this public good only benefits capital owners, not the ordinary people who bear the burden. And that's why in every highly capitalist country, birth rates collapse. Because from the moment a person is born, they are already part of a system of exploitation. Here's another revealing pattern. Whenever people talk about stimulating the economy, the first idea is always to hand out money. But the moment someone mentions changing ownership structures from private to public, many jump up and protest. Isn't that strange? It's like a patient who refuses a real cure and insists on painkillers instead. Why? Because capitalists need the state to take on debt in order to keep the system alive. In theory, there are two paths forward. One is ownership reform, changing how wealth and power are distributed. The other is to keep borrowing, letting the nation shoulder more debt. But who ultimately pays that debt? The global capitalists who can move anywhere, or the local working class who cannot leave? The answer is obvious. So whenever an economy slows down and the loudest voices call for cash handouts, those voices are either serving capital or speaking under its influence. To see a country's true character, don't listen to its slogans. Just observe one simple thing. When faced with economic difficulty, does it choose reform or more debt? Those who choose more debt are serving the interests of capitalists. The clearest examples, the author says, are the United States and Japan. And to know whether a country still has a future, look at its debt level. The glory of the past 2 decades was built on borrowing. Debt can help if it drives industrial upgrading. That's like borrowing to invest. But if a country keeps borrowing just to protect its old elites while making no progress in technology or productivity, then it has no future. The author argues Japan is one such case. Some people may argue that public ownership has failed before, calling it planned economy. But they miss the deeper logic. The decline of capitalism is not caused by opposition or accident. It is historical inevitability. Capitalism was not wrong. It was right for a particular time under specific conditions of productivity. But no system lasts forever. The real question is, how do we recognize that capitalism has reached its limit? And where should humanity go next? Because to pretend that nothing is wrong, even as the system suffocates productivity and threatens our collective survival, is not just naive, it's dangerous self-deception. If you found this reflection interesting, please remember to like, save, and subscribe for more content like this.